Hey everybody, Brent Ingersoll here. You know what time it is. It's the midweek. That means another midweek mini message. Let's go. So here we are, several weeks into COVID world, and I suspect this might resonate with you. I honestly feel like some days I'm Dr. Jekyll and some days I'm Mr. Hyde, and some days I'm capable and I'm taking this thing on, and I'm gonna be a homeschooling, home parenting, home cooking dad, helping my wife, owning our family. I'm gonna work out in my garage. I'm not gonna gain weight. I'm not gonna lose muscle. I'm not gonna lose sleep, and I'm all pumped up and ready to go and seize the day. And then there's other times where I'm like on the verge of a nervous breakdown. How can these kids be home another day and another day and another day about to pop? Anybody? You know what I'm saying? So we find ourselves in this zone where we're being stretched. And I want to tell you something, that if you feel like you're at the end of your rope, if you feel like there's a lot on your shoulders, if you feel like you're having to go through the grinder, which I think most of us do, we're in really good company. This here is Easter week. This is the week we celebrate Jesus, not just dying on the cross, but also rising in victory. But we think about the week that he had going in, week where he knew that there were going to be people who worshiped him with their lips, saying, Hosanna, Hosanna, and then just several days later crying, crucify him, crucify him. He had to deal with betrayal. He had to deal with abandonment. He had to deal with taking on shame and humiliation. I mean, think about the things that Jesus went through. Talk about going through a crucible. In fact, when we think about him being in the Garden of Gethsemane, sweating like drops of blood, Gethsemane actually means the olive press, and Jesus literally went through this crushing, this stressful place like no other human being has ever encountered. And yet it was through that, culminating on the cross, we find him cry out these words, "It is finished." You know, it's incredible when you think about that statement. Isn't just what he accomplished for us, but the fact that he stuck it out to the bitter end. That there wasn't one thing that he didn't do, not a piece of his assignment that he did not accomplish. There wasn't one conversation he avoided, one conflict that he avoided. There wasn't anything that he did not do. He did it all unto the end. And I want to just give you a thought today. If you find yourself having to be resilient, if you find yourself having to be persistent, if you find yourself having to kind of grind through a season, you're in good company. Jesus went through the olive press. He went to the cross, and he calls us to actually take up our cross and follow him. But here's the good news. The Bible, Jesus, the New Testament, all promises that when we are steadfast in trial, James tells us, that we will reap a crown of reward or of righteousness. Jesus said to the church in Smyrna in Revelation that if you're faithful to the end, if you endure to the end, you will reap the crown of righteousness, the crown of reward. The Bible tells us in Hebrews 12 that for the joy set before Jesus, he endured the cross, scorning its shame. So I want to tell you something, that if you're going through difficulty, which I know so many of us are, we're not exempt. Doesn't matter what social class or what your background is, we're all dealing with it. And if you're going through it, here's the deal. If you'll trust God with it, if you'll follow Jesus through it, there is blessing on the other side. God rewards us when we are steadfast in trial. When we persevere through difficulty, trials, and troubles, God has blessing for us on the other side. So if you find yourself at your wit's end, if you find yourself crushed under the weight of it all, you are in a good place. You are in a place that Jesus was in, and that Jesus endured to the bitter end, and he calls us to do it too. But here's the good news. Jesus was abandoned on the cross, but that same Jesus who bore our cross and dealt with ultimate and utter isolation and abandonment promises us that he'll be with us in trials, and he'll bring us to the place where we overcome. Jesus said in John, he said, "In this world you will have troubles, but fear not, I've overcome the world." I pray today that you trust the one who overcame on your behalf as you go through your own trials, and that he would turn these burdens into the greatest blessings that we have ever known. Hang in there, be persistent, be steadfast, and he will give us the crown of life.